Okay, we're back. We can think of this as part 2. I don't know how many parts. Are we going to scare the people and say this is part 2 of 44 parts?
Yeah.
And Mark is taking 25 of them.
Yes. Yes, this is our digital version of War and Peace.
Well, we're going to move on to the national now. And this one, this is a bit of a baddie. And it's about the NHS. I think Mark
Don't worry. Labour are coming in on their white horses. This time in 3 years, we will be shouting again from the rooftops.
What? No, there's a problem.
Get them out. Be gone with you.
My feeling is that there is a massive, massive problem in the NHS. This is a big story. Mark, NHS bosses destroy the careers of whistleblowers who stand up to protect patients' lives.
Yeah, do you want me to carry on?
Yeah, I can give you a little bit of a brief. I'm talking about talented doctors and nurses claim they've lost their jobs, with some driven to the brink of suicide as bosses sought to bury their concerns. Now, this is a big story in the Telegraph. Go ahead, Mark.
Yeah, apparently they're saying that there's more than 50 doctors and nurses say they've been targeted after raising concerns about upwards of, you ready, 170 patient deaths and nearly 700 cases of poor care. One consultant described it as, pardon me, the biggest scandal, here's another one, within our country, and said the true number of avoidable deaths was astronomical. So instead of trying to fix the problems, the whistleblowers claim the NHS bosses are spending millions of pounds of taxpayers' money, hiring law firms and private eyes to investigate them instead, leading, as you say, many medics to quit the profession in despair. Many have lost jobs and some on the brink of suicide.
Well, one of those cases in particular took me by surprise was the NHS spent more than $4 million on legal action against a single whistleblower, which included $3.2 million in compensation. How stupid is that? To protect their own reputations above and beyond, whilst actually failing the people of this country. Go ahead, Trevor.
Yeah, we're following a theme tonight, aren't we? And this is our part 2. We're just following a theme. Are we really surprised at the actions of these? It's the upper managers that are doing this in the NHS.
And who the hell are they? They're not the people on the front line. They're not the doctors. They're not the talent.
I'll tell you exactly who they are. They're the ones that are bought by the sizes of their salaries. Have you seen the sizes of the salaries, what they get paid? The government own them.
Yeah.
The government own them by the pure size of the salaries. There's too many of them, and you need reform. You've got to get them out of there. You've got to narrow them down and you just got to get rid of them. I just can't say it enough. I'm sick of saying it till I'm blue in the face. These upper managers have got to go.
Well, they find it easier to attack the allegations and the person that's making the allegation than actually trying to fix the problem. And they won't hold their hands up and they won't admit to it. I can remember being absolutely savaged by some massive legal entities in London when I was criticizing the Performing Rights Society. And I had every right, and I've still got all the communications, and I can prove it. And they wanted to attack, and the rest of the weak composers in the industry just sat back and did nothing. They did nothing. And I liken it to something like that, whereby, we're seeing, these people being attacked for telling the truth because it embarrasses those other people. Well, to hell with those other people. It's the patients that are the most important. Go ahead, Mark.
Not in this system, it's not.
Again, this is just, it's another example again, isn't it? It seems to be every week this of people being put at risk because people in authority want to protect their reputations. Or they think they've got reputations to protect, do they? Or bad reputations.
Well, like Paula Vennells at the post office.
Yeah, but this just explains exactly what the problem is. An average of over 6 years to resolve a case. Imagine going through that. No wonder these people feel suicidal. It's like the post office thing. This is disgusting.
It hangs over them, It really, really does. I mean, I can tell you now, complaints to any ombudsman of a serious level can take anywhere between 12 and 18 months to get any form of resolution. Your easiest bet is to actually put a writ on the CEO of the companies. Put a writ on them or put a class action on them. That'll get them moving. I know it does work. I can tell you it does work. Go ahead, Mark.
It's upside down world again, isn't it? Why are we in this situation again where the people who do the right things are the ones who are punished?
Oh,
there's this culture here, boys, again, of this.
This country, it absolutely pisses me off in the way that they do that. Instead of actually listening and correcting things, it's the same old, same old. You make a complaint against the people who should be enforcing the law, and that complaint goes nowhere. Nowhere. And the government doesn't do anything about it. It wouldn't matter how much evidence you put before them. They just kick it into the long grass. Go ahead, Mark.
It's because we've still got this culture, haven't we, of rewarding failure, and punishment of the brave. What's that all about? And we're going to come back to this word again. God, for years we've been going about this word. Until we get some of this, it's never going to end, and it's accountability. If those at fault don't admit accountability and then something's done about them, nothing's ever going to change. It's going to be just another scandal and lessons learned and no conclusion. We've seen this over and over again. They'll drag you through the courts. You'll end up in prison. But as long as their reputation's fine, that's great. No, because we've got teachers losing jobs. We've got police whistleblowers losing jobs. Now it's the NHS. When's this going to stop? Till everyone's losing their jobs and everyone's killing themselves. What happened to be kind, mental health?
You've got the latest scandal, today's scandal, the blood contamination.
That's just incredible. That's massive.
This country is a disgrace. It's an utter disgrace. You've got, when you had this, the COVID stuff.
Yeah, I was going to say that.
Yeah, when we had the COVID stuff, you had Switzerland, Sweden, all the rest of them dealing with the inquiries into them were done within 12 months. You've got this thing going on again. The COVID inquiry in this country is going to hit record levels. It's running at over 100 million at the minute, and it's not due to finish till 2026. It's a disgrace. You've got the blood contamination. This country, again, it's a disgrace. In other countries where they've already had the contaminated blood, people have been held to account. People have been jailed. In France, they've been jailed. In this country, what will they get? An OBE, a knighthood.
Yeah, they probably will, Trev. Do you know what?
It's an absolute disgrace.
Because he's on about...
Go on, sorry. People of this country do nothing about it, Mark. They don't do anything. There's a march in London on June the 1st. Are they going to be there?
No. Just let me interject for a second and then bring Statsman in. There is an act which is supposed to protect the whistleblowers. It's called the Public Interest Disclosure Act 1998, under which workers have the right not to be subjected to any detriment by any act. Okay? Now, what actually happens is it takes that long to get justice that in the meantime, knowing these managers know that they're actually going to get done for it, they leave the job and they get out before the hatchet comes down on them, or they move into another job somewhere else and they avoid any form of accountability whatsoever. It's what happens. It seems to be the natural way that people and elites in this country seem to act, and they get away with things. I say bring back the guillotine. Madame Guillotine.
I wouldn't bring that down to local council level. Of course I won't. The likes of Russ Bowden and Kathy.
Don't forget to say that he was the former leader of Warrington Borough Council.
I'm sorry, but I think all our friends have been listening to me for the last 3 years rambling on about Russ Bowden should know by now that he's basically he's the ex-leader of Warrington Borough Council.
Who are now in 1.8, approaching 2.3 billion in debt.
Approaching 2.3 by 2025, yes. And they have just walked off into the sunset no accountability, and hey ho, the government have sent in independent people to check it. Well, there you go, hey?
Okay. You're going to bring Stats Man in. Go on, Stats.
No, you stole what I was going to say. I was going to go through that act. Well, I'll just finish off, won't repeat it. It's not the law, it's the system.
Yep.
We keep putting laws in for everything, but the system delays it all and hampers the whole damn thing.
Absolutely.
How many laws have these Conservatives put in? We done a podcast, didn't we, probably a year or two ago, where they put in about 60 or 70 new laws. The police's heads were up the backsides. They didn't know what day it was. But then the police get all the grief.
Yep.
It's the system. Everything's in place. It's all there. Use it properly, you cowards.
But it's being abused. That's the truth.
I just want to go back to what Trevor mentioned. I just wanted to come in before about the COVID one. So there's going to be huge compensation for this blood scandal, apparently. That's because Rishi didn't cause it and his mates didn't cause it, like the vaccine thing. Where's the huge compensation for that? It's killed people. Yeah, not just one or two either. I know people who have damaged off it.
There won't be any compensation because they changed the law immediately. Before they brought it in, they said there will be no claims on any of the vaccinations given.
Yeah, they gave a get out of jail card free.
There is, but it's like £120,000.
Yeah, which is nothing for the damage that it's caused.
Someone dies, that's not going to touch the sides. But again, it's the system.
It's the system. It's the system with the immigration as well. It's not the migrants that come over here that get put up in 4-star hotels and get fed 4 meals a day and get push bikes and better dressed than Laura Ashley, whatever it is. And it's not them. It's the system.
Well, it's the people that are actually feeding the system because it's worth it to them. The fact of the matter is that the reason why this country is in a state of decline is because, number one, it takes so long to get any form of justice. If they want to come after you for not paying your tax bill, they'd be right on you. Immediately. Same with the police. But when you want to pursue a complaint against any government authority through any ombudsman or to do something, you've only got to look at what's gone on. Look at the post office workers. Look at justice for the 97. Look at things of that nature and how long it takes. It's just completely wrong. That's why we don't need another democratic government. I say, let's get a dictator in. Somebody that's going to walk in there and just say, no. Take out the likes of Mark Rowley. Take out the likes of this government. And let's just say we have another Cromwell.
Don't worry about it. In 3 years' time, we'll be singing from the rooftops, get 'em out, get 'em out, get 'em out.
I reckon it might
and
be
Mark will be singing, get 'em off. Get them off. Get them off.
Too right. You know what? The problem is, the whole thing's run by cowards and frauds who actually think they've got a reputation that's more important than people's lives. So they want to say it. So if these people could read the room, they'd realise they really haven't got a good reputation.
No, they're going to get their heads chopped. One way or another, it's going to happen. They're going to get it because the people have had enough. They just rely.
Yeah.
They rely on
Twitter saying they've had enough, though, John. They're all on Twitter going, I've had enough. No, get off your arses and do something about it.
Yeah, but they won't. And you still... Listen, I put myself up for election. God knows how many times. As I've said before, I've had more parties than Mick Jagger, etc.
Oh, you've got the moves of Jagger. We know it. We can see you.
Well, I do have the moves. But anyway, I'm giving these people they've got ample opportunity to vote for an alternative source, but they do not take that choice.
Idiots.
And I will only be going so long. I'm not going to put up with it. I'm not going to keep doing it. Because if you keep burying your head up your backside, then suffer your consequence. Why I'm grazing on the grass.
And that's the reason. That's the reason why, until the system changes, it isn't going to work. We're going to continually hear stories about this that are popping up and whistleblowers being suppressed to stop them actually telling the truth about what's going on. Go on, Statsman.
Oh, well, I'm sorry, but I'm going to end this on a massive black pill then, I think, because to change the system, you've actually got to get into the system. And if people aren't willing to vote for the people like ourselves who've all put ourselves forward to change the system, guess what? It ain't going to change.
It ain't going to
ever.
change.
So suck it up, buttercups. Stop moaning about it or get off your arses and do something. It's all good and well going to a protest. That's great. It raises awareness. But what does it actually achieve?
Indeed.
Name one protest that's achieved anything apart from the one who threw herself under a horse. Slightly more than a protest. Slightly, yeah.
We haven't heard what's actually really happening with the post office people. There is a suppression of information that goes on within this country, and they stop you from finding out about what's going on in other countries in terms of the mainstream. I wouldn't trust any of them in the way that they report on these things now. The reporters of all these way supposed mainstream press, nah, they're just no good anymore. Anyway, okay, gonna start moving this on.
I threw myself under a horse last month and I missed. Yeah, but that was another story. It wasn't a protest, but I just did it for the sake of doing it.
Never mind a horse. I saw a guy on a penny farthing today in Chester.
What?
On a penny farthing.
And I'll tell you where he lives. Oh, no, I won't, because no, that was Wigan. Sorry. Unless you pedalled all the way up there to Wigan.
Okay, well, we're going to move that one out.
Hope he used the cycle lane.
He did.
He's probably the only one.
We're going to be moving on to part 3.